Markita. We're here with Markita Woods, the queen of mortgages, correct? Queen of
Yeah.
mortgages?
Yes, the
Okay.
self-proclaimed.
And I'm Kenyatta Lewis White with Clark Premier Realty Group. I asked Markita to join us in our chat today because I've been seeing her on Instagram talking about VA loans. So I figured we could talk a little bit more to see what our veterans have and their families might have for mortgages, right? Mortgage lending,
Yes.
correct? Okay. So Marquita, tell us a little bit about yourself and then we'll get started.
All right. Well, as stated, I'm affectionately known as the Queen of Mortgages, and I jokingly say that I have self-proclaimed that name, but I have been a mortgage lender for 22 plus years. And for the last, I would say 12 to 14 years, maybe 12 to 14, 15 years, I decided to focus on veterans as a subject matter expert. I think it's the best loan program on the planet. Thank you all for your service. And I look at it more as a benefit, and I don't think enough veterans take advantage of it or understand the nuances of the financing.
Got it. Okay. So how would someone who is a veteran come to you? What is it exactly that you're going to do to help them out?
So I am going to walk them through the loan process just in general, right? I mean, there's three areas that any lender is going to look at no matter what the loan type is, and that's going to be credit, income, and assets. I call it the CIA because for a minute we are like the CIA, all up in your business, but you have to understand that you are borrowing, not 100,000. I mean, hundreds of dollars, but thousands of dollars, and in our case area, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we need to know that you have the ability to pay that back. So what typically happens, again, after looking at those three areas, I'm going to come up with a specific scenario for you as a veteran looking to use your benefit. The fact that there's no money down. People get very confused that no down payment means no closing costs. And they are two different things. So no down payment means your sales price and loan amount are going to be the same if you choose to exercise that option. And you may have what's called a funding fee that's financed on top. So I'm going to determine buying power. We're going to go over the benefits of the loan, which will happen to be, as mentioned, the no down payment. VA itself actually doesn't have a credit score requirement. I don't know if people actually know that. But what happens is the lenders have what's called overlays. So we will institute like a minimum credit score to get a loan. But VA itself says that if said veteran matches their profile as far as guidelines, you can't actually do a loan. So that's just a tidbit to have in somebody's back pocket. But I also pull up what's called, so there's one thing that people don't understand. There's approvability and eligibility. And there's one thing called a golden ticket with VA loans. And you might be able to be approved, but are you eligible? So I'm also going to assist in getting what's called the certificate of eligibility, which is the golden ticket to take advantage of the loan program. So those are some of the things that we get started with, and then going over numbers and going from there. But the nuances of the loan that make it better than the other loan, I think I've already given you two, right?
The credit score.
The credit score. And what is our other biggest challenge far as if people have decent credit?
Down
Um,
payments.
there you go. It's especially in our area. It's a high cost area, and saving for a down payment can be challenging. And I see that even more with these inflationary times. So, two of the barriers that could possibly stop someone from being a homeowner are either not there or lower than what you have with other financing types. So, no down payment, a lower credit score, and overall, a loan type where the underwriters, who are people that approve loans on the back end, are encouraged to give the veteran the benefit of the doubt.
Okay. Now
Yes.
you mentioned guidelines. Give
Mhm.
me an example of the type of guidelines that you guys might request for.
So one is for collections. People come with collections on their credit report, And the VA doesn't have a specific guideline that says that someone has an open collection that they have to pay it off to actually qualify. So it is given to underwriter discretion. And in many cases, if we're able to write an explanation and this said collection is not affecting score, unlike other loan types, those collections have to be paid or addressed. So that is a flexible guideline on credit that can help quite a bit.
Okay. How would one receive the certificate of eligibility or the golden ticket?
The golden ticket. So you can go on the va.gov site and pull your own certificate of eligibility. It has a tab there. So this va.gov dot something else, but maybe we can drop that link in the show notes after the fact. But yes, you can pull your certificate of eligibility there, or you can work with us as a lender where we are tied to the VA system through a site called WebGLY, and we basically are able to help assist with that. And if a challenge comes up, we'll just upload the DD 214, and that's one thing that we as lenders try to take off people's plate. However, you certainly can pull your certificate of eligibility on your own.
Okay, what is a DD 214?
That is a paper that shows that you were honorably discharged from the military. So good question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to give
That's
jargon.
okay. People want to know. I want to know. I'm like, what's a DD
Yes. So
214?
that is your escape plan.
Okay. Honorably
Yes.
discharged. Okay,
Yes.
now what would consider somebody to be honorably discharged?
That they've just fulfilled the term of the contract, whether that was 4 years, whether that was 20 years. Um, if you're not honorably discharged, that doesn't say that you can't take advantage of the loan. But there's has to be more
Scrutiny.
scrutiny. Yeah, so you can have a other than honorable classification, but it is scrutinized, and then it ends up being a little bit more paperwork and process back and forth between the VA. Hmm.
Okay. Now, what if you have a client that is looking to purchase a home that needs a lot of work? Does VA lending offer some type of rehab assistance, or is that like a separate loan that they would have to qualify for?
That is a great question. So this loan type has morphed over time, where before you didn't have what would be considered like a renovation type of loan for veterans. But now, yes, there is an offering for a VA renovation loan where some of the renovations can be financed into the repairs. It is a very nuanced product, so you don't have a lot of lenders that actually offer it, but it is available to do a VA renovation loan. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And the
And
reason why
then,
I asked that, like years ago when I first started, I ran into a vet and we were going through the process. I didn't know anything about about it, but I screwed up the loan. Like I screwed up the offer in a sense of I wasn't I wasn't clear on how things should have been rolled into the loan.
okay,
I didn't get that training.
okay.
So yeah. So I would definitely take I'll take charge in that to say that I screwed it up.
Well,
But we
yeah.
but we still looked at other properties, but eventually, the person died off because they just weren't comfortable paying amounts of money for properties that
Okay.
needed so much work. And this was like I said, years ago
Yes.
when we
And
were
I
in
say
that that bubble of when the real estate market kind of popped. So things were just going
kinda,
crazy.
kinda, you're being kind.
I'm being kind.
You're being kind. It's all good. And like I said, this loan type has morphed. It has had some evolution and evolved as far as being able to do renovation. You do have some VA loans where it's like a one-time closed construction type loan. So as we've moved forward with this loan type, it has gotten better over time because at one point there are just so many myths about the VA loan too. And that's another reason why you had numbers that showed that 50% of veterans hadn't even used their certificate to buy a home because either, A, they didn't understand the benefit of it, or B, the lender discouraged them from moving forward because VA had a bad name as far as appraisals and the loan type and different things that happens. But the other part of it that I think gets very confusing, or the lines get blurred, is that lenders are lending the money.
Hmm.
VA does not lend money. VA is an insuring agency that if your loan meets their guidelines, they will they will insure those loans for the lender. So sometimes people, "Oh, the VA is doing my loan," or you have people that actually have like veteran in their name and they think that they work for the VA, not in that capacity. Like they don't. They are able to do VA loans, but they are not the VA, and the VA is not a lender.
Got it. Now, what's the difference between VA approval and FHA approvals?
A lot. A lot. It's interesting because that's one thing I tell people all the time is don't FHA my VA. Because it's been said that only 8% of loan officers have done one VA loan or like more than four VA loans within a year. So it's like you don't have a lot of people that are really subject matter expert in this area. So that can happen all the time that we think because it's a government loan that the FHA guidelines are the same as the VA guidelines, and they are vastly different. Now, you still have to qualify, but I'll give you one right off the top. So there is no debt to income ratio uh, number for VA. You
Okay.
could possibly close a loan, and what a debt to income ratio is basically how much debt to income is going out when you add this new mortgage. Well, FHA has a cutoff, a hard stop. I don't care if you have an 850,000 credit score.
Mhm.
At 56.99 debt to income ratio, you're done because that's their guideline. Well,
Mhm.
VA doesn't have a hard stop on the back end of that when you're actually trying to get someone approved. They have to have other factors, but people try to lump that in together as far as FHA and VA and guidelines. FHA also says that you have to have a minimum required down payment of 3.5%. So right there, that's totally different.
Okay.
But yeah, many times people think, oh well, their debt to income ratio is too high. No, like if you have an approval through a desktop underwriting system, I personally closed one at 76%.
Wow.
So, yes. And I know you say, well, that almost sounds like predatory lending, but but there were other factors in place that made sense to do the loan, and it was basically a situation where the veteran was carrying their current property
Okay.
and they wanted to buy before they sold the home. So I needed to
Add it
qualify
on
them
there.
carrying both payments
Mhm.
and was able to actually get that done because they did have a higher credit score as well. And then they had some other factors that allowed it to be an approval in the desktop underwriting system. So that's another difference too. So one thing about FHA loans, if you have what's called residual income, meaning after we add this mortgage, the debts that appear on credit and everything associated with that, if you can show that and taking out taxes, because other loan types we're qualifying on gross income, which we're using that number, but we're still accounting for Uncle Sam taking away his chunk, his large chunk, right? I don't even know who said he's an uncle because he is not my friend. But anyway, away this large chunk. If you have certain guideline numbers based on family size and the region you live in left, then the debt to income ratio can pretty much become a moot point. And that's how we're able to get it done. So even showed after paying the mortgage, getting the new mortgage, taxes being taken out, and her monthly debts, that she still had this residual number. And that's not something that FHA takes into account.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Families. Now, can a surviving spouse of a vet take out a VA loan?
So I can see you've been knowing some little things about some VA here. Yes, they can. A
Okay.
surviving spouse can. Of course, they cannot, remarry it. The benefit goes away. But the veteran that they're using the eligibility for had to have passed because of a service connected reason.
Okay.
Okay. So it can't be that, said veteran passed because of I don't know, high blood pressure, whatever. And now he still, he had a certificate and I can use it. It has to be because of a service connected reason, and they can continue to use the certificate of eligibility to purchase a home unless they remarry.
Okay. So does that expire? Even say if they don't even get married, does that benefit expire for that spouse? So for the
No,
certificate, it will never
no,
expire. Okay.
no. There's no time limit on it. If they never remarry and they bought one house with the certificate and they want to buy another house with the certificate, there's no time limit on the certificate of eligibility.
Got it. Now, new construction, I have to ask this because builders, they give all these different incentives saying you come with our lender, we'll give you so much money, so many dollars towards your down payment or towards your so on and so forth. How does a VA loan, do you guys have have you ever seen a lot of new construction come in through your channel with the VA?
Well, I don't because of what you said, right? Certainly, I have pre-approved people to use their VA benefit, and then they did go to said borrower, I mean, said builder, and we're just not able to compete with the concessions and things that they're actually giving to make you go with their lender, right? And although it looks like it's good on the surface, and sometimes it is, like I have to tell them, you know what, I don't have 20,000 and no, I'm not going to finish the basement. If you use me as a lender, so I understand you got to kind of do what you have to do, right? But I have definitely taken on many turn downs from builders lenders because as I mentioned earlier, probably only 8% of lenders have done 3 to 4 VA loans within a year. So I have taken on many turn downs from builders who said, yes, you have to go with my lender, but couldn't figure out how to make it work for said veteran. So I've definitely done that. But overall, yeah, once they go new construction, it's kind of, lights out based on how everything is, put into a profit center for them. And I understand it. I mean, don't get me wrong, the cost of this stuff is not free. It seems like it's all good, but it's built and baked in somewhere. But I mean, if I was at new construction, I'm a loan officer and I probably wouldn't use me. So I get it. Like I need that basement finished so I can get away from these children.
I understand. So I'm in my little office right now.
You're right.
Okay, is there anything else you want to share um, with with me?
Well, I just want to say that, when you're using your VA loan or considering using a VA loan, work with a local and accountable lender. Don't just automatically assume because it has a branch of service in its name or it says veteran in its name that they have your best interest at heart as far as a mortgage is concerned. I also find that, like I said, many big box lenders or bank lenders they don't have the specialty that sometimes is needed. And I've also found in the agent community that people like to work with people that are local and accountable. So who you work with matters and veteran home ownership matters. I love those places that the other one that sells insurance, that does VA loans, I like them for insurance. I like the Navy place for banking, and the other place is just a market employee. So go local, go accountable, and yeah, that's it. Best loan on the planet. Take advantage of it.
Okay. So Markita, if anybody wanted to get in touch with you, how would they do this?
So several ways. I'm pretty easy to find. First, you could just Google Queen of Mortgages and my big head should pop up. And if somebody else pops up, you need to let me know. But other than that, I like to do discovery calls, no obligation. Just go over someone's scenario and you can reach me at chatwithmarkita.com to schedule a quick call. If that's too much, you could just also visit my website, queenofmortgages.com. And from there, just fill out a little form and we could go from there. But if you're somebody that's over the small talk and I just want to chat right off the break, my phone number is 703-929-2274. So that's Markita Woods, queenofmortgages.com, chatwithmarkita.com. Also can find me on Instagram at Markita Woods, or you could just reach out and call.
Great. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you being here. I
Thank
learned a
you.
lot.
Good.
So the next time I get a person with a certificate of eligibility, I'll have them reach out to you.
And if they don't have it yet, just know we can get it for them. And that is one of the questions that I do train my real estate partners and friends. Like, ask every person that you meet, are they a veteran? Because many people don't even identify as that big because they didn't go to combat or they just don't think it's important to say right away. But I would ask every person if they are a veteran and move forward from there. So appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.